Thanks for joining us once again for your update from the city of New Hope. The mayor is with us, Kathi Hemken, to provide us some great information from the city. How are you today, Mayor?
I'm just fine. The weather is cooperating nicely today.
It is very nice out there. Let's talk about a number of things happening in the city, and we begin with elections. The season is upon us. Give residents what they need to know about election and voting right now for the early part of the election process.
So August 9th is the primary vote. And what that does is if there's more than double the amount of candidates for a position, then they have to go to a primary. So New Hope has 5 people applying for the 2 spots. And so that will go to a primary, but there's other things on that ballot too. So they can no longer pre-register, but they actually can go into City Hall and register. So they can't get their ballots sent to them like before because it just wouldn't get there in time. But they still can go into City Hall between 8 and 4:30 and vote up to the 9th. And then on the 9th, they have to go to their polling places to vote.
Okay. Very good. And again, newhopemn.gov, great place to find out more information about the election process this year. To community development, a lot happening here. First is the Rave Awards. Some big thank yous go out to people who have done some nominating. Tell us more.
Well, we actually got 6 nominations.
Great.
We were getting a little worried because we didn't have too many of them, but a lot of times people wait. So now that those nominations are in and that's closed, a couple folks are going out and they'll visit the properties and then they'll announce the winners probably late August by the time they get done visiting the properties. So stay tuned for that.
We'll keep residents up to date. Curbside Appeal reimbursement program. You've got another property owner that's doing some neat things outside. Again, remind us how this program works.
So they will, the city will reimburse you 25% of the cost of the project. And they're asking that the projects be between $1,000 and $5,000. The last one that they just approved, they've approved 4 already. This guy is putting in a new garage door with windows and new shutters and a new front door. So if you've got some project that's improving the appearance of your house from the curb, you probably should call City Hall and see if you can get in on that reimbursement. It's a nice kickback if you need that.
Let's move to Scatterside Housing. We've got 3 properties to talk about today. Quick updates here. The first is the property at 42nd and Boone. The SWAT team was out doing some training. So how did that go and how is the process moving from here?
If you remember right, that's the old treehouse property. And so the SWAT team was in there and they really appreciated being in there and training. So now the next thing that'll happen is the engineer will get some reports for us, such as grading and asbestos inside. And after that's done, then we'll call the demolition team and they'll start tearing that down. So about the middle of August, you should start seeing some work being done on that house.
Let's move up to 52nd in Pennsylvania. I understand a little delay on this property. Tell us more.
Well, that was supposed to close last week, but it won't close now till the 19th because they wanted to get the basement finished before they close and they can't get the materials. So they pushed that closing out for a few days.
Final stop, 58th in Boone. Again, another property we've been talking about a few times. Tell us more about some of the updates there.
That's the second house back on Boone and Bass Lake Road. And that's been boarded up for a long time. The house went into foreclosure, so they had to wait for that, and then they had to wait for the sheriff's sale. So now that ends in mid-September. So the next thing that'll happen after that is the if the owners don't reclaim the property, and I really don't believe they will, then the lender will take the property, and then once the lender gets the property, we have the opportunity to buy that if the price is right, and it probably will be. So even though this seems like a long time, we have to obey by the rules, and we don't have eminent domain anymore, so we can't just take it. We have to obey by the rules, and it just takes forever. And those poor neighbors that have had to look at that mess, we finally got them to clean up the outdoor mess. That'll help a little bit, but please, neighbors, know that we're doing something, and pretty soon that house will be taken down.
Let's move to the Business Networking Group. A great event happened this past week and another fun event already on the schedule. Give us a recap of the last and what's coming up.
Well, we were at Pocket Square last week and Kevin Tiffany from Country Kitchen came and he gave us a little update on why he sold and how he sold and why it took that long. Apparently he had been trying to sell since September and been working with the guy that bought it. And his thoughts were, if you tell people ahead of time you're going to close, they quit coming. And the other thing that happens is your staff gets other jobs.
Sure.
And so he knew that when the sale would be, but he just didn't, he chose not to tell anybody. And I'm sure he's helping his employees get jobs when he can. But he's really happy to be done. And we thanked him for his 40 years of keeping Country Kitchen running in New Hope.
And then the next event coming up is on August 3rd, and that's at 8:30 in the morning. And it's at one of your favorite places that we see right behind you there.
Right behind me, it's at the golf course. So Mark Severson's going to host that. He'll tell us a little bit about what goes on at the golf course and some maintenance stuff that you wouldn't even think about. He's got some cute pictures of foxes and some deer that are at the golf course on a regular basis, eating the plants. Thank you very much. So that's where it'll be 8:30 in the morning on August 3rd at the golf course.
Final note under community development, we've got a property at 52nd and Winnetka that the city has been looking at in regards to some trailers there, and you've got some progress to report.
On the west side of Winnetka, this business has been parking empty trailers there. And we keep citing them because you can't do that without a permit, and it wasn't fenced. So we keep giving them citations and they'd keep paying it. Well, we finally got smarter. We started doubling the cost of the citations. So he finally got the message. He quit paying the fines and he put up a fence and got a permit like he's supposed to. Nobody's above the law. I mean, these are the rules and you have to obey by the rules. You might as well just do it because that's what you're supposed to do. And instead of having to pay all those fines.
Very good.
Now we have a fence around it.
Very good. All right, let's move ahead to the police department. A couple updates to provide here. We mentioned again the SWAT training that was held at the former Treehouse site. Also, the chief recently attended the Northwest Metro Drug Task Force. Again, why is this important? Who are the others involved in that group?
Well, what happens with the police department is the bad guys don't recognize where the borders are. They don't care. So we have to be working with all of our other cities around us, especially Crystal and Golden Valley and Plymouth, Robbinsdale. And so this task force is either the police chiefs or somebody from their police department. They all get together and they know who the bad guys are and they know where to find them and they know how to keep an eye on them. And so it's really important to have these officers from all these cities get together and talk about what's happening and where the drugs are being sold and passed on. So we really appreciate him doing that, but it takes a lot of extra time.
Certainly does. Final note in the police department, we showed you some pictures last week of the Copsicles program, but you wanted to just mention a little bit more about this and mention a way that people might be able to get the Copsicles to come to their location.
Well, you'll have a website that'll show on their Facebook website. They can go on there and they should check that regularly to see when the next Copsicle, and I'm not mispronouncing that. It's not popsicles, it's Copsicles.
Right.
And when the next Copsicle event will happen and at what park. And I know that you can always call the contact in the police department and say, I wish you'd come to my park. And they'll probably put it on their list. The kids really love it. And the cops like going out to do that. And of course, they're still delivering Meals on Wheels, and that's a big event for them too.
They're involved in the community. Let's move to Public Works and give you a little update on what they're doing at this point. And sounds like some fun stuff here. We've got jetting sanitary sewers and cleaning catch basins. What is that all about?
Okay, can you imagine how much fun that is?
Yes.
I tell people though that when they jet out the sanitary sewers, it just doesn't go in the street.
Okay.
It actually goes into the sanitary sewer.
Good.
But sometimes the pipes get a little clogged and they just go in and put some water pressure in there and do that. And then of course they have to hand clean out the catch basins from all the leaves and the grass and all that other stuff that's going on. So they keep really busy. The other thing they're doing is they're building new park signs. So if you notice, the park signs are made of wood, and rather than go outside and have another company do that, Public Works is building it inside. So there's all kinds of stuff that they're constantly doing just to keep everything looking really pretty. There's been a couple water main breaks, but they're smaller ones.
Okay.
And so they're just kind of patching them wherever they can. And when they can, they're lining that sewer pipe, that water pipe, so that it'll make the pipes last longer.
They are busy as always. A couple things to mention as you drive around the city. One is crack repair and seal coating. It's going to get a little sticky in a few neighborhoods. Where should we watch out for?
Well, north of 42nd up to 49th, from Boone over to Gettysburg, they're going to seal coat and fog seal those streets. And when they fog seal, it gets really sticky. Don't walk on that for a couple of reasons. One of them, you'll get real sticky, but the other thing, it kind of ruins the coat a little bit. So they put down whatever that gravel stuff is, like tar, and then the gravel stuff. They scoop that up and then they do the fog seal. So the people who are being affected by that should have gotten a notice in the mail when they're doing it. Please pay attention, do what it tells you to do. Don't drive on it if you can at all help it. I should tell people, in the event of an emergency, the fire truck or the police car or the ambulance doesn't care if you fog seal. They will get to you if they need to get to you. But let's not drive on that if we don't have to.
Sounds good. And we want to give a little update here on the Meadow Lake Drawdown. We followed the progress of it throughout the late winter into spring, and now you've got some results. How did that drawdown work?
Well, what they wanted to do is get rid of the invasive species. And they had something called a flathead minnow. Now, I don't know if there's a fathead minnow is what it is. I don't know if there's a skinny head minnow or not, but all of the fathead minnows are gone. But what's happening now is you're seeing a lot of cattails growing, but those aren't invasive plants. Those are native plants. I don't know if they're going to do something about that or they'll cut that back. I just don't know about that. But the other good news is that we've got a really healthy turtle population. So these invasive species were actually eating a lot of the stuff on the bottom that they shouldn't have been eating, and now they're gone, and that's what they were intending to do. You'll see a scum on the lake, and people tell me it's not really good, but quite frankly, it's summer. And that this drawdown was never intended to take care of that. So the people that are checking the water say the water quality is good, and they're pleased with the results that they got, and the little fat minnows are gone.
Good to hear. All right, let's move over to Park and Rec. As you imagine, a lot happening here, and we're in a little bit of transition time. Tell us about some of the programs that are starting, ending, and in progress.
So I'm going to have to look at my notes because there's so many going on. So the second season of the Playground Pals, that's just getting started. The final summer session of the adult tennis leagues, that's finishing up this week. There's all kinds of stuff, and if you look in your In Motion, speaking of In Motion, that's going to the printers, and you should be seeing that in your mailboxes sometime in early August. Keep that and look at it, because that's where all the programs will be listed. But there's still some in the summer programs that you can sign up for. So keep your summer program until you get the fall one.
A valuable document. Let's talk about the Off-Broadway Music Theater. I know you had a chance to head out and enjoy the show. Tell us where it is, what it is, and why people should come.
Oh, and so this is their 50th anniversary of doing a play in New Hope. They're doing Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's just adorable. If you go, it costs, well, it's free, but if you want to give a $5 donation, they really appreciate that. And they're also collecting food for Prism and Near, things that are non-perishable. When you go, or if you go, check on the costumes. They're just beautiful. They do many costume changes. And when he puts on that dream coat, it's just amazing. So it's really a fun, real upbeat. There's about 7 or 8 young kids, little kids, that are doing part of the choir.
Neat.
It's fun, it's upbeat, it's just a wonderful thing. And it's at the Civic Center Pavilion. So if you go to Civic Center Park, starts at 8 o'clock. I suggest you get there at 7.
Okay.
Bring your lawn chair. They're selling popcorn, and so you can eat popcorn and drink sodas, waiting for the show to begin. And on a beautiful evening, there's nothing better to do than to go see that.
Yeah, great opportunity right here in the city. Let's talk a little bit about dancers now. Another program in transition. Tell us about the dancers. Who's coming, who's going?
Well, we have a huge dance team, and it's really popular with the kids. So what they do is they let the kids that were in the dance program, let them sign up first. And once they get them signed up, then it's open to the general public so the new dancers can come in. And they can do that after August 1st. If there's enough new dancers, they'll start a different class. So it isn't like you're going to get shut out. They'll find a place for you in the program. But they just want to get the returning dancers settled in before the new dancers come.
Makes sense. City's website, you can find out more information about that, newhopemn.gov. Let's talk softball for a moment. We've got some leagues here that are in progress of changing from regular season to playoffs. What's happening on the fields?
Well, the men's softball league is wrapping up. And now what they'll do is they'll go into 2 weeks of playoff, and then they'll have a tournament at the end to pick a winner, I guess. And the women's softball team is going well, and they're just getting ready now to do their fall season.
Very good.
So both of them are doing good.
Speaking of seasons, it's hard to think that we're already going to talk about this next topic, that there's recruiting going on for people to work inside and outside during the winter. What's this all about?
Well, you have to start early. And it seems like here it is mid-July and already they're talking about fall. So we need gym attendants. Those are people that'll go and just make sure that the gym is cleaned up afterwards. And so they're looking to hire some gym attendants, and they're also looking to hire people at the ice arena, just ice arena attendants. So if you're interested in any of those jobs, go on to the city's website under jobs, and you can apply for them online.
Yeah, great opportunities there. Outside, they're still trying to keep the parks clean, and one thing they have to do is spot treat some weeds. Where's that taking place?
So when they took the ash trees off the boulevards, of course, there's a big pile of dirt, and in this nice weather with a little bit of rain, they've got a bunch of weeds. And they really can't plant grass seed yet because it's just too hot. So what they're going to do is, just on the boulevards mostly, they're going to be spraying for weed killers around that, get rid of the weeds, and then come September when it's a little cooler, they'll put down grass seed. And then when they do that, they come by and they water it. But really, I need people to be watering those trees, those new trees they put in. They need a lot of water, and it's been very hot. So please go out there and water your new little trees. And then once they put the grass in, you'll need to water that too.
Couple final Park and Rec previews coming up here. We've got Wet and Wild Water Day coming up early in August, and then Safety Camp in the middle of the month. Again, give us a couple previews about that fun.
August 5th, and this is at Valley Place Park in Crystal. It's I'm not really sure where it is. Well, I do know where it is if I drive there, but I don't know the address. Anyway, it's from 12:30 to 3:30. The cost is $3. If you register before the 1st of August, $5 after that. They've got 3 big slides going on and some just watering of the kids. So this is done by Crystal, New Hope, and Robbinsdale Park and Rec departments, and then West Metro Fire is there. So they come out with the aerial truck and they're pouring water down these slides. Really a popular event. The kids just love it. We're hoping for a nice hot day because that's even more fun. And some of the slides are smaller, so the little kids can go down the smaller slides, and those big brave ones can go down the big slides. I did that one time. Oh my gosh, that was it.
They move pretty quickly.
What goes down must come up.
Yes,
so
this is true.
You slide down really quick, and then you have to walk up the hill again.
A little bit of a workout there, and I believe that park is at about 33rd and Louisiana is, I think, what the location is in the city of Crystal. A couple other Park and Rec facilities to touch on. First of all, the golf course. How are things going there as the season moves along?
Well, of course, they're busy, and they've had a lot of tournaments there. Now they're what they're doing is they're getting ready for the fall leagues. So the summer leagues are still playing, and then that ends, I believe, the end of August, and then the fall leagues will start if you're interested. They're still doing golf lessons both for the juniors and the adults. And if you're going to play, you can either go online or call the golf course, but do get a tee time because they're getting pretty full over there.
And also some of the fruits of the plant sale are showing now at the course. Is that correct? That some things are popping up.
So we raised $1,200, just a little over that. And typically we give it to Mark to do whatever it is he thinks needs to be done. So he bought a bunch of big pots, and we've got this wonderful guy over at the ice arena named Scott. And Scott planted the pots with some of his plants, some that we bought. So now the golf course on that front patio has 4 big pots, and there's a bunch of pots as you enter the golf course down that sidewalk. And he got a couple new trees that are putting in and just some irrigation that's put in. So it's just one of those nice things that I thank people very much for the plants they donated and the ones that came in and bought plants. And I hope the plants are doing well.
Very good. When Scott's not over helping plant the plants, he is at the ice arena, and they're keeping busy too. What's the latest at the ice arena?
Well, first of all, the front of the ice arena looks fabulous because it's got all kinds of flowers and plants and things
Okay.
that are going on there. I understand they're still looking for a Zamboni driver. So if you want to do something really fun,
Sure.
that's it. They're having open skating and the leagues are pretty much done, but what they're doing is the high performance stuff now. So there's some high performance camps that are going on. The high schools are almost done with the leagues that they're playing over there. So there's just lots of stuff going on at the ice arena, and pretty soon we'll be starting in full bloom again.
Yes, that is true. All right. How about the aquatic park? How are things going there? And I understand there's a little bit of change of seasons here too, or different sets of lessons for the swimmers as well.
Well, this is the last session of the swim lessons, but the lap swimming is open still, and the water walking is open. These are all before the pool opens at noon. So I believe the water walking is $6, unless you have a season pass, then you just go and walk. But they've been so busy, and really they're just having fun with it. I believe the last day that they're going to be open is August 21st.
Okay.
And the problem with that is a lot of our lifeguards are college students and they're going back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And so we lose our lifeguards, and when we lose our lifeguards, we can't be open.
Sure. Makes sense. All right. So get out there and enjoy that pool. Final note to pass along here, another date for your calendar. National Night Out is August 2nd. And Mayor, you want to let residents know what they can do now to maybe plan for some special visits that night.
Well, they can't. They should register their party, whether it's just a bucket of ice cream and an ice cream cone or a full-fledged potluck. We don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
What we do care is that the neighbors are getting together and they're talking. Now, if you would like someone to come to your party, like the police chief and I will be driving around, those big trucks from Public Works will be driving along. Some parties collect food stuff that's going to the food shelves. So the Public Works guys will go around. If you know you're having a party and you want anybody to come to your party, put on that registration form who you would like. The canine goes out, the fire trucks go out,
Mm-hmm.
the police cars go out. Somebody will stop by your party if you register, but you have to register. And I'm hoping to see, last year I think we went to 13 parties. So I'm hoping to get out to see some folks, and this is a good time to actually bring your concerns to both the police chief, who's the acting city manager, and I.
Yeah,
so
very good.
We'll be there too. And if I'm really nice, the police chief tells me I can play with the buttons.
Well, there
So
you go.
I can run the siren and the lights, but he only lets me do it once.
All right.
At one house. So I'm behaving myself as much as I can so I get to play with the
Get that
the lights and
opportunity.
the sirens.
Good for you. All right. That again comes up on August 2nd. You can go to the city's website to find out more, newhopemn.gov to register or find out about all the other things we mentioned in the update today. Mayor, as always, thanks for your time. We'll look forward to talking to you again next week to give folks an update. Have a great week.
Good. Thanks, Dave. And I understand you're going to have a list of events on the
That
website.
is coming right up here. So stick with us for a second. We've got some other things that are happening in the city. Thanks for being with us on this New Hope update.
Thanks, Dave.
Learn more about the connection at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.